Glovebox Live's Nick John interviews the Mastersons.
All my lives felt like a crooked line, but I'll get by. I'll just get by.
Producer Jim Scott said that Chris Masterson and Eleanor Whitmore were the hardest working husband and wife duo in the music industry. And I'm here with them today ahead of their gig at Fat Lil's in Whitney. Hi Chris, hi Eleanor.
Hi.
Hey. How have you been finding the tour so far?
It's been a great tour. We started off in Spain in early January, so we've been out for a while.
We started off with milder weather as we sit in this cold dressing room.
We've all got our coats and scarves on, I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've been in the UK for a couple of days. You were in London last night, I think.
London was last night. Winchester before that. Leeds before that. Yeah. The tour is 26 cities altogether in Europe and the UK.
That's quite a lot of days.
Yeah,
that's good.
We wouldn't want to add any more.
Well,
in two separate trips, if that.
But you've been to the UK before, obviously.
Yeah.
And you've done Masterson's tours in the UK as
Yep.
This would be our third one on our own, and then we usually come over once every couple of years with Steve Earle too. So
yeah, that's right. So our listeners will probably be aware that you're in the. Are they called the Dukes now? I heard they're now called the Dukes and the Duchesses.
We lost the other Duchess, so it's just kind of the Dukes now.
Oh, okay. No, I think you should hang in there for that.
That's okay. I don't need the distinction.
Now, and you do your third album's out, I noticed. So, Transient Lullaby.
Yeah, that's sort of a tour-only version of it right now. It's coming out officially in the spring. We're just...
it's the full record, but it's just kind of exclusive for the tour.
We're in the final stages of working with a new record label for this release. So and we kind of told them we need to bring something new on the tour, but...
the papers aren't signed, so it's still ours. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
I've been shooting daggers from a stage everybody can see. Take a look around, they're all staring at me.
Glovebox also do folk stuff around here, obviously based in Oxfordshire and Gloucestershire. We do a lot of folk. And I was talking to Chris Wood, and he said that I said, "Oh, there's a great folk revival in the UK, and I think that applies to Americana as well." But we were saying, I was quite positive about it, and he sort of said he thinks it's a sort of one generational thing, because obviously artists now are releasing product, but they release it for tours. So you want product when you're touring, because that's where you're going to make your sales. But
the traditional record cycle. I mean, everyone talks about the changing business, and you'll read people saying, "Oh, records are dead. It's all singles," but no one's really figured out how to quite monetize that or make a living off of that. So, I guess what we and a lot of young bands do is maybe a hybrid of sort of new versus old guard music business. I mean, we still, have a manager and an agent and a publicist and try to make these records every 18 months to 2 years, but then the rest of the time we're just touring our butts off. And much like this bootleg that we have of the new record, you've got to have it for sale when the people come to the gig.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The majority of our sales, I would say, come at the shows.
But I also will say, being a product or a band that came up through the label system, it's like when you are on a label and you have a proper publicist, that the introduction we got to, say, Bob Harris the first time we came over, and having Uncut Magazine give us a really favorable review, that really laid some groundwork that maybe a young act without any infrastructure would have a more difficult time.
That legitimizes it.
Stronger than one, everything is better with you. Not gonna run, every day's more fun with two. Gone are the days when I get high all alone, so set in my ways, no way I could have known.
I going to ask you about the general aspect of what we call Americana over here. We kind of label things. I think the Brits, we label things all the time. We put things into pigeonholes and things. Is the Americana label something that you have on the other side of the pond? I mean,
it's there. You know, I was just talking to another guy before doors, and you know, it's funny. We were talking to Bob Harris about that, and this is a couple of years ago, and you know, I think a couple of years ago, if you would have asked someone in Great Britain about Americana, they'd think, well, that's Coca-Cola or Johnny Cash, not necessarily its own musical idiom. And you know, I think anything that helps get people out to shows is great. You know, anything, you know, in this business, anything that gets someone in the door is great. There's some people that take it really seriously, and you know, to me, we just write songs, and you know, then the fans can put them in whatever shoebox they want to put them in.
Yeah.
I mean, we come from Texas, so there's a southern bent to everything we do. But you know, we also grew up listening to Kinks records, and there's a lot of Anglo in it as well. So,
Eleanor, you said about the Good Luck Charm record, you said it's not overtly a political record.
Yeah. There are some.
I've got to ask you now. I mean, we're in the middle over here as well.
Go for
and
it.
This is an obvious question, but it must be hard now, almost not to write politically.
Well, I think you may see that with our next record, not the one that's not out yet, but the songs that we will be writing moving forward. You know, it's kind of hard to ignore what's going on, and it's not just in the United States.
We're all figuring this out, aren't we? And
Yeah.
not really knowing.
You know, and there are some political songs on Good Luck Charm. Not everything is political. We kind of didn't want that to be the whole focus of the record, but these are some very interesting times that we're living in, and I think that for me, you know, art should invoke something. It should be provocative, and you know, I think we have a lot that we might want to say about what's going on in the world coming up.
I suspect there's going to be more songs written than less, aren't there?
Yeah.
well, if you look at, you know, if you think of, you know, on either side of the pond, from, you know, Woody Guthrie, or, you know, Steve Earle, or a you know, a Billy Bragg or a Joe Strummer, you know, they've all, I don't know. I mean, I think the you know, some of the greatest art probably happens during a Republican administration. Of the greatest protest songs.
Well, it's interesting. You said we saw Billy Bragg and Joe Henry on the Shine a Light tour.
What a great
Salisbury.
record that was.
Yeah, and it was the night of the inauguration. And us Brits, we were kind of expecting Billy Bragg to go into overdrive, which he did, I have to say.
Oh, good.
But Joe went first.
Joe's got a good take on things.
And he said something which got a huge round of applause. He said, "This is where we are." Talking about the American people, he said, "This is where we are, but it's not who we are." And we got that, and we thought that was, you know, it was a really, in one sentence, it was really apposite to say that, you know.
Yeah, that's great. Joe's worked on a couple records I've played on, but we're not really even acquaintances. But we see his postings online sometimes, and he always has something nice to say.
No, we don't breathe the same air, and we don't sing the same song. Since she moved on and left me alone, she's out there on the coastline.
We played The Hague on inauguration night.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And we had
how was that?
We had the projectionist display an upside down American flag for part of the show. The problem is you guys can't flip your flag upside down.
Nah, it doesn't make any difference.
To signal distress.
No, we just pushed the island further away from Europe. We'll
I
see
think we
what
have
happens.
a lot to commiserate about.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very confused over here as well as to what it's all going to mean, and you know. But there we are. We will see what happens.
But you know,
keep faith in music.
Sure, and you know, change comes from the ground up, and there's no one leader or one office that could, you know. We had heard Obama say in an interview talking of democracy that it, you know, it's like steering a ship. You can't take a hard left or a hard right like that. You know, it takes time, and but
so hopefully it won't all get wrecked in the next 4 years.
Yeah,
but I think that change starts. You know, when you saw people, you know, all the marches that happened. I mean, one side of me thinks, I don't think all of them voted.
Where were they when the election happened?
But it takes what it takes, and if that's what it takes to get people to rise up in their communities and do something, just to donate to something, go march, go help somebody, you know.
Well, it has been amazing the demonstrations at the airports and everything about the travel ban and everything. You know, is people voting with their feet again and saying
we even watched. I mean, just even the adverts in the Super Bowl where you know, very, you know, they were great. So maybe it has to get that bad to get people's attention. I don't know.
Well, listen, it's been great chatting to you.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving us the time. That's lovely. I'm sure lots of people will go online to listen to the interview and everything. Have a great show tonight.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of the foggy, cold and wet February UK.
We will.
We sure will. We always do.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I will if I want. You could make me laugh, but you don't get it. You're chasing.
That was a broadcast production by gloveboxlive.uk.
Spell it out, but you won't get it.